So we have to be understanding the message of why this is there. Okay, and I've often told you that the reason the Uzzah story is in 1 Chronicles here is to help you understand that doing the wrong thing for quote unquote a right reason still doesn't make it right. And also excuses like, well, he got caught up in the moment doesn't make it right. Now, first of all, everything about this situation was wrong because the ark should never been on a cart, okay, in the first place. So I don't know what David was all upset about, except that everything about what he was doing was not right. He went about it wrong. But David, as we should all know, is also not just a man after Yahweh's own heart, but he's a man who's all heart and driven by emotion and driven by heart. And so he wanted this. And I don't think he was necessarily as broken up about Uzzah as that this whole thing kind of put a big damper on the whole celebration. But recognizing the limitations of what is ours and what is not ours, and what we involve ourselves in, and then we overstep. Let's put this in much more, mundane, less life and death sort of things. How often do you step in for a child, especially even an adult child, to try to intervene in something that's not yours? I got so many phone calls all the time from parents that are frustrated with children. I'm like, why are you frustrated? You're involving yourself in stuff that's not yours. Or wives for husbands, or whoever for whoever. You're gonna get smacked in some form, thankfully not zapped like Uzzah, but you're gonna get some sort of smack when you step in across a boundary that you were told. Now, I'm only talking about specifically, especially when you were told, I don't need your help, I don't want you doing this, I want you to leave that alone. And then you'll say, oh, but I was just trying to help. This is not written to us. A lot of stuff in here is hard for us to understand because it's written to people that understood exactly what this was talking about. Where we, who it's written for, as well as for them, but it was also written for us, are trying to understand with a disconnected context of several thousand years. Okay, it's a good couple of thousand years ago that this is all happening. And so when you add those things together, we can often go, why is that there? It just pops out and we don't understand why that. There's a bunch of verses that we read in the Torah portions. I'm like, I don't even know why. Out of nowhere, this little thing pops up and I'm like, okay, I don't really know why that's there or what it's talking about and why is that person all of a sudden mentioned. But the people who would have understood this back then would have understood. Traditions are totally fine provided they don't do one of these two things. Either of these two things, then it's fine. Number one, it cannot get in the way of a Torah observance. It can't interfere with or go against a Torah command. See, when Yeshua in Mark 7, he said, you guys, you kind of get in the way of the law by your traditions. And then he gave an example, okay? So you can't use a tradition to get in the way of a Torah command. The second thing that you can't do is you can't treat a tradition as if it's a Torah command. You can't elevate it to that level. Okay, they're taking a single chemical out, they're isolating it, purifying it to whatever degree, meaning it's not mixed in with other stuff. It's just that one chemical that they're pulling out of it. That's chemistry. This is where I've said you can use these things. I would go and make the effort to not use them. Okay, so if the only one that I can get that has the effect that I need is one of those, then sure. Again, I'm not breaking Torah to do that. He said, don't eat the animal. Okay, when we pull a single chemical out of an animal, we're not eating the animal. Okay, this is now science, it's not digestion. Okay, you're not like chewing on the animal and getting something out of it. It's a totally different thing. So just keep that in mind when you go through the process of needing to, in this day and age, as we want to live older and older, we supplement, we use medications, we do all kinds of natural things, but all the natural things still come in pills and tablets and stuff, and they have often other sources that are not something maybe you want to have sourced that you're eating. So don't. Everybody's gonna have a slightly different thing. Some people are like major Christmas people and their whole house is Christmas and everything is going on is Christmas, when it's this time of year. And there are other people that really throw a little token nothing at it and you probably go to the house and it doesn't even feel like they're doing anything. And so everything's gonna be unique to your situation. The thing is this, I'm not gonna wanna walk in a house that's all Christmas and everything is focused on that and I'm supposed to be focusing on family and I'm surrounded by trees and all the lights and all the figures and all the other stuff that people do to their houses to make it look Christmas. That's gonna be your call on that. I know that people generally are not doing anything religious with Christmas, which is really the hypocrisy of the whole thing. They're claiming it's about Messiah, and they do nothing in it that has anything to do with anything vertical. It's all about this family, fun, presents, whatever.
I've always been curious to know that if Yahweh wrote the Bible or someone else did.
He didn't write anything. He had people write. He inspired the writing. Some of it was dictated, because you hear things like Yahweh spoke to Moshe and told Moshe this, that, and other. So that part is being quoted. But other stuff he inspired to be written. Okay, he inspired to write. He didn't actually with his hands write the scriptures. He wrote the commandments on the tablets, but otherwise everything else was written by man. But we believe and trust that it was inspired. So it's the inspired word. He inspired those things. Just like I believe he inspires what I say, okay, when I'm up here at the podium, not when I'm everywhere, okay? A lot of that junk that comes out of my mouth when I'm everywhere is just me, okay? I would like to avoid getting onto a business banking website on Shabbat. I don't have a problem going on the m.t.o.i app and just saying tithe or offering, because that's like you're walking up to the box and just putting something in the box. But I'm not gonna get on a bank website and try to do any kind of banking stuff if I can avoid it. And it should be avoidable, because it's not a rush to have to do this on Shabbat. As a matter of fact, you can see, because tithe was stuff back in Paul's day, they took up their offering on Sunday. Not because they worshiped on Sunday, but because they couldn't do it on Shabbat. See, Christians, you got to understand the context of what's going on. Well, you know, Paul was doing Sunday. No, he wasn't. He took up an offering on Sunday to collect a lot of stuff to bring over to this other place that he was going. I think he was going, bringing it to headquarters in Jerusalem. He couldn't do that on a Shabbat. You're not going to have people bring a bunch of animals and food and all this stuff and pile it all up to bring to Jerusalem on Shabbat. So he took up his collection on Sunday.
What should Julia's response be to a teenage grandson who wants to have a relationship with her when his own mother doesn't want him to?
You have to respect the actual mother until the child is an adult. The child can then do whatever they want. Child's 16, the mother says, I don't want you talking to grandma. Well, that's between the 16-year-old and the mother. You should be respecting the mother. When the kid turns 18, kid can do whatever they want. Now, the mother may not like it if the kid still lives in their house, but we're dealing with adult according to the legal age of where we live today. I'm not going to, if my child had children and my child did not want their children to interact with me, I'm not going to cause a fight between me and them over that. If the child contacts me, I say, listen, I'd love a relationship with you too. I don't want to create a problem with your mother. Give me 2 years and we can have any relationship you want. Then you can go have a fight with your mother over whether or not you as an adult can have a relationship with me. I will go into a meditative place, meaning I'm thinking, not like actually meditating, but I'll sit in front of the computer or in front of something, trying to come up with a solution to the problem, as opposed to going on my knees and praying for him to give me a solution to the problem. That's just a different approach. When I pray, what do I pray? I thank him. I appreciate him. I praise him. I let him know some things I'm struggling with. If you could allow me to run into somebody or something that'll help, I'll pull up a video or something that'll help me with this answer, that'd be great. But I don't ask really for stuff. I talk to him like he's my father. Praying, I say, Father, I'm really struggling with this one thing and I don't know what to do. I mean, it'd be great if somehow I could accidentally trip over something that might look like an answer or a path towards an answer or something, okay? But I don't really even ask for that stuff most of the time, because I know he's gonna do it anyway. As long as I'm aiming and working and striving, he's gonna help line some things up. That's just the way it works. I'm with you on this, Megan. I don't struggle with it the way you are at the moment, because I've accepted that that's just the way it is. I don't ask him for hardly anything.